It's your boy Davian. Welcome back to my channel. You guys already know we're here with a hot topics video. Hit that notification bell, that subscription button, and let's get into it. So last week we had the Supreme Queen's Court debuted YouTuber Kelly Love. Now I am not subscribed to Kelly's channel, but I did catch a video or two during the Kia and Madison drama, and I saw some of his commentary regarding their particular situation. I thought he was a really nice guy, great commentator. I really loved him being on the show. It was a great show. He was very comfortable in front of the camera, very comfortable next to Maddie. I just love how natural you can tell he felt, and it really translated through the screen. Great guests, loved them. The following week came Nicki Nicole. Nicki Nicole was okay. Like, I enjoyed her too. Nothing particularly stood out to me about her and Madison's chemistry. According to Maddie, I think I heard Maddie say that her and Nicki been friends for a very long time. Now, as you guys know, this week we got a second time runner, Funky Dineva. He hit the screen again. As always, really loved Dineva on the camera. They did a 2 fucking hour long show. That shit was unexpected. I knew that about time the after show came that it was going to be a shit show, because I can tell that Dineva was over it by the time the show came to a fucking end. And if anybody tried it on the after show, that they would get their ass handed to them. And in this case, it was definitely our bald-headed sister in Christ, Tamar Braxton. Kaya had them flew her ass over there to Tamar's Twitter mentions and let her know that Funky Dineva was dragging the living hell out of the follicles that, you know, she has left. And Tamar came diving in, ready for war. And Funky Dineva has some choice words for the woman. Now, this is where the controversy and points of contention came in terms of Maddie making a response video. I guess some people had remarks about her friendship and chemistry with Dineva. Now, I know some of you guys feel like when Dineva comes on, he is good, you guys enjoy him, but you guys feel like he kind of is overbearing and he kind of shades Maddie too much. At the end of the day, friends are friends. What's being translated as shade or too much are all elements of kind of what brings them both together. They both have a similar personality type to begin with. Because I know that friends have their own language, friends have their own chemistry, and trust and believe, nobody is going to be calling another motherfucker a friend if they really believe that in the jokes and in the teasing, that friend sincerely means that harsh shit. So if Maddie is good with all the shade and that Funky does towards her, you know, whether it's calling her a hoe, you know, a paid hoe, a slut hoe, a pissed on hoe, whatever it is, as long as Maddie know what the tea is and she understands that, because that's her good Judy, then so the fuck be it. Could care fucking less. In terms of Maddie coming to Funky Dineva's defense as it relates to Tamar, you guys know that Maddie tries to be as politically correct as possible. When you have two people that you're good friends with, and I don't know if she considers Tamar her friend per se, but I know obviously there's a strong association and liking and some type of a relationship being built between her and Tamar, and obviously she's good friends with Dineva. But I think the drama happened so fucking fast and she was kind of unclear as to what Tamar was upset about, and because Dineva did defend Tamar as it related to Iyanla, Funky Dineva also shaded Tamar's new man because, you know, she's got a Nigerian. I think Maddie kind of got it confused because she know that they laughed at something as it related to Tamar, but she couldn't quite remember in that moment. She did eventually say, no, Tamar, Funky Dineva did defend you against Iyanla, and he did not speak in any way about you being molested. He would never do that. And, you know, blah, 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 blah. When it comes to having an audience, people are always willing to travel anything that looks, smells, or sounds like a damn bone. And if any aspect of what's going on and what you're saying or what's playing out looks like something that has the potentiality of drama in it, some people are going to extrapolate that mustard seed, take it where it needs to be, plant that motherfucker, sit back with their popcorn, and hopefully watch kaboom happen. So Madison, just continue to pay hoes dust. You know, you don't owe these hoes an explanation about your friendship with Dineva. But overall, the Queen Supreme Court has been doing really well. I've really been enjoying the commentary. I know you guys have been asking when I'm going to come on. That's going to work itself out. Just let me get my shit, you know, over here together. But we'll definitely get to that. Aretha's Fune. I'm not going through the whole situation with the fucking funeral. All I'm going to say is that the eulogy was fucking terrible. However, keeping in context that the minister, pastor, deacon, deaconess, whatever the fuck he was a pretty older male. I guess, you know, his take on what's wrong in the world and what black people need to do made sense considering his generation. And you know, that's the whole generation of respectability politics. Saying things that sound sensible on the surface, but that when you dive deeper into the nuances of racism and how the black community has been impacted by white supremacy and racism and oppression, then you have to kind of reconsider those very surface statements like black women can't raise black men, or that black men being raised by black women is why there's homosexuality, and you know, all of this dumb shit. This guy seemed to be one of those guys who would justify a black man being killed for talking back, you know, to the police, or would justify a black man being locked up because he had his fucking pants sagging. Like, this seems like that type of hell and brimstone, law-abiding, respectability politicking ass motherfucker. That's the kind of person he comes off as. So I wasn't here for no part of anything he had to say about Black Lives Matter, about black people need to stop killing black people. Yes, the fuck we do, but I ain't got shit to do with somebody else killing our ass. And I cannot stand when black people say that type of shit, and I used to hurl that type of shit, you know, years ago too. We need to stop killing each other. Yes, completely valid, but I ain't got shit to do when it comes to a conversation about racism, when it comes to a conversation about ethical hate and hate for people simply based upon their religious classification or their racial classification or their sexual orientation classification. That shit is a whole nother fucking ballpark. So, you know, we just gotta do fucking better. Now, in terms of the pastor and his remark about Ariana Grande, I know he got his ass handed. Twitter handed him his ass, Facebook handed him his ass, YouTube handed him his ass, Instagram handed him his ass. From the groping, which, you know, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm not even sure that the strongest of pedophiles would have the tenacity, the courage, and the ballsiness to attempt to molest somebody in front of the entire fucking world. So I'm going to assume that this pastor was not so fucking attracted to Ariana Grande that he literally would try to cop a feel with 18 different national cameras pointed at him, along with every other cell phone being put up to record this memorable historical moment. It's Aretha's funeral, and that he would be so sly and so disgusting intentionally. I think because she was so scantily dressed, and him being a pastor, I think he's used to wrapping his arm around people. But I think in his mind he felt like, if I just cling to her upper body instead of her lower body, then I could definitely stay away from anything that looks like I'm inappropriately touching her. And I do think he was nervous, because I would have been nervous to speak in front of the fucking world. I'm sure everybody there was fucking nervous. I just felt like he just wrapped his arms around and he just clinged, and he was just in his head and trying to look like he wasn't in his head, and it just all looked really, 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 really fucking bad. I also found it interesting that Ariana Grande did not have anything to say about what happened to her, even though everybody else did. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is Ariana's dress code. Ariana Grande obviously came to the funeral, you know, with the hem of her skirt up to her pussy lips, and I personally was here for it because I just can't stand that misogynistic double standard, policing females and policing their bodies bullshit. That shit is done away with. You guys invited a pop star into a church situation to perform secular music that was originally created by a secular artist. So I don't know why it was expected that this girl would come looking like a fucking nun. just because you want to sexualize her thighs and her legs doesn't mean that she has to dress according to your fucking lust. Like, that's your lust to deal with. If you look at a woman in a miniskirt and the first thing that comes to your mind is some lustful or predatory carnal type thinking, then that's more of a reflection on you. And I don't believe that women should have to dress appropriately in order to not warrant certain fucking behavior, because we should all treat people accordingly, not based upon how they look, what they wearing, who they are, what they are, simply because we want to be respected. And so respect is to be given because we expect respect in return. So if Ariana Grande wanted to come there in a fucking miniskirt, kudos to her, bitch. After all, woman is a god in a miniskirt. Now I want to talk about Kandi Burruss for a minute. This situation happened like the end of last month, and I got to pull it up on my laptop. But I found this to be interesting. Apparently, and this all is going to be filmed on the up and coming season of Atlanta's Housewives. But the article says Kandi, a wealthy black woman, brought her teenage daughter, Riley, a $100,000 Porsche without consulting with her husband, Todd. Was she wrong for spending that amount of money on her daughter without discussing it with him? The answer is very motherfucking clear and obvious. Damn right, she should have consulted her husband about what she wanted to do for their daughter. This is a fucking blended family. Todd is legally married to fucking Kandi. And I find it interesting that as a step parent, you are expected to treat the step child no differently than you would your own. But then when situations like this come up, the public's response is, well, that's her child. No, ma'am. Because if Todd had not treated Riley like his fucking child, the public would have been up in fucking arms about that. Kandi, you're a married fucking woman. This is your husband, and you should consult your husband about everything. And not that it's Kandi needing Todd's permission. There's a thing called respect that goes on in relationships. And I get it. That singleness is an epidemic at this point. So it's more miserable, resentful, bitter motherfuckers who spending every night of their lives alone. So you guys forget about what it takes for a partnership to be a partnership. But in a partnership, there's mutual fucking respect, which means that we communicate about everything. Now, if Kandi had approached Todd and Todd would have gave his opinion and said, I think that's a little bit too much, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, Kandi could choose to either honor that, consider that, or not, especially if she's taking that money out of money she's making from her personal endeavors. But any money that her and Todd is making together, if Todd was in disagreement with spending that kind of money on a car for her daughter, she definitely should not take money that they're making together and make those type of purchases when only one person is in agreement of that shit. But even if she was spending her own money out of, you know, the check she get from her personal endeavors that have nothing to do with her and Todd's business ventures, it was still the respectable thing for her to talk to her husband about that. You can't bring single people mentality into a relationship. If you want to live your life the way you want to, and you don't want to answer to no fucking body, you don't want to be responsible for nobody, you don't want to consider nobody else's feelings, you need to be by your fucking self. Father God help these hoes. Woo, tried to get up. Serena Williams and the whole bodysuit, disgusting, and fucking disgusting. And you know, while I'm on Serena Williams and her catsuit, that the tennis league apparently has now banned women or anybody from wearing a catsuit, because we already know that if it was some flat-assed triple A cup having ass white woman in a catsuit, nobody would have paid any lick of attention, yet alone it created national goddamn controversy. But because, once again, we're in the business of policing black woman's body, black man's body, you know, we get into these type of fucking politics, and I just can't wait until this shit comes to a fucking end. Like, white America, who the fuck do you think you are to tell black people how they need to look in their fucking clothes? This is the fat ass that God gave Serena. These are the big ass titties that the divine supreme consciousness gave Serena. And who the fuck is your mortal, stupid, pathetic ass to tell this woman that she can't wear this because of what? Because of what? Because them white hoes in the audience is pressed about their husband seeing all that ass? Girl, it's not Serena's fault that your husband got to go home with your flat ass and smash pancakes when he can have buffalo steaks, wings, and hamburger at Serena's table. Y'all can't be pressed like that. You can't tell a hoe to take her weave out her head because your shit look nappy and she look better in her shit. You can't tell somebody to dress down who's dressed up just because you dressed like shit. Step your pussy up. I was on Facebook scrolling, minding my business, being nosy. Apparently, the U.S. Supreme Court has indeed banned dreadlocks during the hiring process. It's legal for your employer to basically discriminate against your hair or your natural features. Yes, that's for real. On a governmental level, how is it intellectually sound for you to give permission to a business to police people's native natural features? So now what? Are all black people gonna have to contour their fucking noses? I mean, so now what? Are we to perm our hair? Are we to relax our hair? I mean, what the fuck is acceptable hair? Black people have coarse 4B, 3C textured hair. And not every black man or woman is interested in constantly going to a barbershop. We so smart as a society that we're really just so fucking dumb. There's like really intelligent, progressive aspects to our society, and then there's these really outdated, bigoted, just dumb, unconscious aspects of our fucking society. How this would look if a black-owned business hired a white person and openly told them that they would have to do something about their silky hair, that they would have to do something about their blonde, that they would have to do something about their swoop, that they would have to do something about that 7-piece layered pixie cut, they have going on, because we course around these pots. I'm interested to know if the Supreme Court would have also ruled, if it had been black businesses that had been discriminating or wanting to police white bodies. And last but not least, we know that the Bobby Brown story came out, and we found out a very interesting fact, and it was very interesting to me because I'm a fan of Janet Jackson. And apparently, Bobby Brown and Janet Jackson allegedly had an affair, according to Bobby Brown. It led to an embarrassing depiction of Janet, admitting that basically her father would kill her if he married someone of the likes and color and complexion of Bobby Brown. And this resulted in Bobby Brown kicking her ass out of his hotel, butt fucking naked. Now, Janet Jackson obviously denied those allegations. I fucking believe everything about that fucking affair. Yes, Janet Jackson definitely wanted Tupac to take a HIV test before she even gave him a on-screen kiss. But this ain't got shit to do with her attraction toward Bobby Brown. I completely see the law of polarity at work within that affair. Because here it is, we have Janet, who was raised very conservative in the Jehovah's Witness religious community, a very conservative mother, a very rule with an iron fist father, Joe Jackson, and she looks at someone like Bobby Brown, who is the quintessential bad boys. Now, why do bad girls like bad boys? You know why? Because good girls are vicariously living through the rebellion and the confidence and the courage of the bad boy. The same reason why good boys like bad girls. It's just the law of polarity, the law of opposites. Opposites do fucking attract. They're not really so opposite, because Bobby Brown is who Janet Jackson is on the inside. And if we look at her music, we can see that Janet Jackson has raunchy music, racy music, very sexual music. Bobby Brown was all this stuff outwardly, and he was this in real life. Janet is this inside of herself, kind of like her alter ego. This is who she don't have the balls to be in her everyday life, but she can express this through her art. And I can definitely see there being some weird attraction to Bobby Brown's ability to not give a fuck. Because when you are a very monitored, straight and narrow person, you might stay away from wild ass people, but you always secretly admire people who are just different, people who have balls, people who are breaking the code of conduct, people who are behaving in unconventional ways, because there's a part of you that wants to be free too. So I completely fucking believe it. I can see why Janet Jackson would have been attracted to Bobby Brown. And if it was true, do we really see Janet Jackson admitting that she had an affair on her husband with someone? Of course not. That would be so unfucking ladylike. But I believe it, goddamn. Yep, I sure do. This wraps up this Hot Topics video. Hope you guys really enjoyed. Make sure you share, rate, comment, and subscribe. We are at a whopping 12K, going on 13K. Let's get these numbers up, bring people into the kingdom. Also have a podcast coming out that has to do with spiritual, supernatural, paranormal shit. You guys know that initially that's where and what my channel was built upon, was metaphysical things, intellectual conversation. Then I transitioned into pop culture commentary, which I really do fucking enjoy because it allows me to just be a normal, down-to-earth human being. But you guys know, like, I'm spiritual by nature. That's my fucking heart. So I'm gonna not necessarily bring that into this channel. I'm just gonna create a whole separate platform. And those of you who would like to listen to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, once I get everything situated and organized and established, I'll be promoting that podcast, and you guys will be able to go and follow me wherever you need to follow me in order to keep up with strange news, Bigfoot, astral projection, parallel dimensions, time travel, cloning, the Illuminati, magic, witchcraft, all that shit. We're gonna get into all of it. But I love you guys. Thank you guys for the support, and I'll talk to you guys later.